Good morning. Michael Cooper, Member of Parliament for St. Albert, Edmonton. This morning, I had the honor of introducing in the House of Commons legislation to strengthen Canada's relationship with Taiwan, the Canada-Taiwan Relations Framework Act. This is timely, much needed, and frankly, long overdue legislation. Taiwan is Canada's 13th largest trading partner. It's our fifth largest trading partner in Asia, with $8 billion of bilateral trade annually. We share strong people-to-people links with nearly 200,000 Taiwanese in Canada and some 60,000 Canadians in Taiwan. Indeed, Taiwan is home to the fourth largest number of Canadians in the world. And most importantly, we share common values, including a commitment to pluralism, human rights, the rule of law, and democracy. Yet, despite all of that, for the last 51 years, Canada has had no formal relationship with Taiwan. The absence of recognition, the absence of diplomatic relations, the absence of any formal relationship has created challenges, and in terms of the interactions between Canada and Taiwan, both legal and pragmatic. There is a real void that exists, and it is a void that this legislation seeks to fill by establishing an orderly and workable mechanism by which Canada can conduct its relations with Taiwan. This bill seeks to do so by establishing a legal framework for strengthening relations between Canada and Taiwan, including in areas of the economy, trade, culture, and the law. This bill is in the mutual interests of both Taiwan and Canada. And from Canada's standpoint, it is important that there is certainty that has been entirely lacking. And indeed, having regard for the vast informal relations and interactions with Taiwan, the establishment of a legal framework governing Canada's relations with Taiwan protects Canadian interests. Additionally, this legislation recognizes the important and positive role that Taiwan has played on the world stage, on a range of global issues, initiatives, and partnerships. Indeed, Taiwan is a model for the world in many respects. We have seen that over the last 15 months with respect to public health, where Taiwan has battled COVID just about better than any jurisdiction in the world, with very few cases, very few hospitalizations, and very few deaths, all the while remaining open. And having regard for all of that, it is important that Taiwan play a role and participate in multilateral organizations and forums. And so this bill directs the Government of Canada to support, broadly speaking, Taiwan's participation in such organizations and forums, and specifically calls on Taiwan's participation in the World Health Organization as well as the International Civil Aviation Organization. And with respect to the WHO and ICAO, let me just say that at a time when we are in the middle of a pandemic, it is absurd that Taiwan would be excluded, having regard for the significant expertise that it brings to the table, and more broadly from the standpoint of global public health. And similarly, with respect to ICAO, from a global aviation safety standpoint, Taiwan is home to the 11th busiest airport in the world at Taipei. So it is important that Taiwan be able to fully participate in those organizations. Further, this bill would allow, quite appropriately, the renaming of the office of the representative of the government of Taiwan in Canada from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office to the Taiwan Representative Office, to reflect the true function of that office, which is to represent the government of Taiwan and the people of Taiwan in Canada, not just the capital city of Taipei. And let me just briefly say, with respect to Canada's One China policy, that this bill is entirely consistent with that policy. By way of background, in the joint communique that sets out Canada's One China policy, Canada merely takes note of Beijing's contention that Taiwan is an inalienable part of the People's Republic of China. In merely taking note, Canada's One China policy does not expressly support that contention, nor does it challenge that contention. And so the policy was quite deliberately designed to provide significant flexibility in conducting relations both with the People's Republic of China and that of Taiwan. In closing, before I answer questions, let me just say that Taiwan is an island of 23.5 million people. It is a thriving democracy. It is a leader in innovation and technology. And it is one of the top 20 economies in the world. It is time for Canada's relations and Canada's policy towards Taiwan to reflect the reality that Taiwan is today. This legislation is an important step towards achieving that, and I look forward to championing it, and I hope that it receives wide support from all sides of the House. And with that, I will take any questions.
And we'll now take questions, starting with questions on the phone. A quick reminder to reporters, one question, one follow-up. Nous allons maintenant passer aux questions, commençant par les questions téléphone. Un petit rappel aux journalistes, une question de suivi. Opérateur, avons-nous une première question?
Please press star one at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. There will be a brief pause while the participants register for questions. Il y aura un court délai vous permettant de vous enregistrer dans la file d'attente pour la période des questions. Thank you for your patience. Merci de patienter. Once again, please press star one at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. And the first question, la première question, is from Lou Fai with Radio Free Asia. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Cooper. Thank you for having a strong voice for Taiwan. I'm just wondering, do you get any pushback or any response from China?
No, I have not. And, quite frankly, I don't believe that Canada should govern its relationship with Taiwan based upon the position of the Chinese Communist regime. Taiwan is simply too important. It's time that we move forward to engage with Taiwan and enhance relations with Taiwan.
Follow-up?
Thank you.
Next question.
There are no further questions registered at this time. Il n'y a plus de questions pour l'instant.
This concludes the press conference. Ceci met fin à la conférence de presse. Merci.